Samadhi we saw in the previous sutra, it is called samprajñātah. Why it was called jñātah? Because we were always knowing something. Like we were knowing the body, we were knowing the elements, we were knowing the mind, ananda, we were knowing at the level of ego. So whatever you saw was something other than you. Then what is the asamprajñāta? You don't meditate on an object. So what happens? We will see what is the asamprajñāta. So he says virama pratyaya abhyasa purva samskara shesho anyaha. Anyaha. Anyaha means the other. So from this we gather that if the previous samadhi was samprajñāta, what is the meaning of the other? What is the other one? Asamprajñāta. Don't look for the word asamprajñāta. It is not there. But anyaha means that. Anyaha means the other one. So if the previous one was samprajñāta, in this sutra we are talking about the asamprajñāta. And the definition is virama pratyaya abhyasa purva. So preceded by purva or along with what? The abhyasa of virama pratyaya. Abhyasa is the practice. Okay. And what has happened here? If you go back, you will see what has happened. When he meditated at the vitarka level, he understood the truth of the entire physical world. When he meditated at the vichara and the ananda level, he understood the entire subtle world, including the 5 senses of perception, 5 organs of action, the mind.
Can you repeat that?
When the vitarka level, vitarka was about the body and the physical world. That was completely understood by him at the vitarka level. Then he went to the vichara level. Vichara, as we understood, was about the prana world, the pranamaya. So he understood all that. And at the ananda level, he understood also the subtleties of the mental world, the gunas. That whenever I am in sattva, I enjoy, I'm happy. Whenever there is agitation and commotion, then there is sorrow and anxiety and fears. And whenever I am not in sattva or rajas, when I'm in ghor tamas, dark tamas, then I don't have the capacity to either enjoy or suffer. I'm dull. Like in the sleep, neither you can become happy due to something, nor you can become sad due to something. You may be happy in the sleep, but not because of any other reason. It's just darkness, right? So why are you happy in the deep sleep? Because all the sources of sadness are absent. That's why. When we wake up and all the sources of sadness come back to us, then the happiness goes away. Then what should we do? Remain in sleep all the time? So that's not possible for a man, right? So we need to discover our ananda in the waking. And that sleep is called samadhi, okay? And that's what we are seeing. So virama, virama means when the thoughts come to an end. Okay, virama pratyaya. Pratyaya is cognition. Why the thoughts have come to an end? Not because he has been removing the thoughts at all these levels. The thoughts have come to an end because the entire world of objects, from vitarka to asmita, from the grossest to the subtlest, from the macro to all the way the micro, the asmita. Nothing is subtler than the ego or the prakriti, right? And nothing is grosser than the physical. So the whole thing has been understood. The whole thing is resolved like a lake which is serene. So therefore Virama Pratyaya, he has arrived at a silence which is not manufactured due to some pressure. It has happened due to the clarity, due to the understanding. And so that is called Virama Pratyaya. Then what should he do at this moment? When you arrive at this silence of yourself, this is not a mental silence, okay? The mental silence goes away when the noise comes. That was at the Ananda level, perhaps. We are not talking about a mental peace or anything. This is his Virama. He understands that I am free from thoughts. It's an understanding, the conscious. When I'm not thinking, then also I am. Think you are. When you don't think, then also you are. Okay? When you think, you of course you are. Because if you are not there, who will think? But when you don't think, also you are. Okay? Thinking does not prove your existence. You exist, therefore you think. Even the guy who wrote that book, he concluded that. He may have said his title was what? I think, therefore I am. That was the title of the book. But that was not his conclusion in the book. His conclusion was René Descartes. Yeah? I am, therefore I think. Okay? That's a fact. So in between the two thoughts, you exist, right? Then thought comes, you don't stop existing. You are, you were, you existed in the previous thought, you existed in the next thought. In between the two thoughts, whatever the gap was, there also the consciousness is. So thought is, consciousness is. Thought is, consciousness is. In between, the thought is not there, consciousness is still is. Okay. The water, in order for it to exist, it does not to be in the form of a wave. Similarly, the consciousness, for it to exist, it should not take the form of a thought wave. If it doesn't, then also it exists. That is the Virama Pratyaya. So, that staying with that Shakti, that Virama, that thoughtless, what a word, thoughtless. He's very thoughtless. It's not a very, but that free from thought view, okay? You free from thoughts is the Virama Pratyaya. Is staying with that, dwelling upon that becomes your abhyasa at this point. That becomes the practice. What is the practice? Dwell upon this peaceful you. Dwell upon this free from thought you. Because this is also yourself. If that disturbed and the anxious and the worried is you, this also is you. This also is you. When you touch the peace, that also is you, no? It's not an alien, it's not a foreigner who touches. So the happy me is different from the sad me. No, so whenever we arrive at this happiness of our own nature, why don't you dwell upon it for a while? That becomes the abhyasa. Abhyasa, so by dwelling upon it, by abiding in it, tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. So when the Nirodha brings this to you, a capacity to abide in yourself, by all means, please stay there for a while. Let that be your abhyasa. That is the samadhi, the asamprajñata. And the only thing that will remain, the vrittis will go away, but the samskaras, the deep-rooted impressions are called samskaras. They will remain. Okay? Samskara sheshaha. Sheshaha means, so there is no, don't expect this to, how to say, there are many samskaras we have. But when they become overpowering, we call them vrittis. Now, vrittis will go away in this samadhi, but your samskaras are not going to disappear. Okay. For example, I don't like to repeat this, but some of these examples understand. So suppose you love idlis, right? So and you become a Buddha. Do you have to this idli? You have an idli samskara. You like idlis. Samskara, understand? Conditioning. What is a samskara? When you have you ever lived in a village? Yes?
My city.
In your city, okay. In Mexico, you live in Mexico City or you live in a small town?
It's a big city.
Okay. But you may have seen there is a well. And then you draw the water and there is a stone, the well stone, and then you on that stone the rope is coming every day and rope is going in and rope is coming out and rope is going in and rope is coming out, and then every day she is creating a samskara on the stone, and finally it becomes a big dent. That is the impression. So in our mind, there are a lot of subtle impressions. And some of them became huge. They are called vrittis. So, but the thoughts are not there, but inside the samskaras will remain. Okay? And they need not go away. Why? Because...
Not even after samadhi.
Yeah. Why should they go away? Suppose,
They're impressed, they cannot go away.
You see, what is there is no need. Understand? As long as it is not blocking your freedom, there is no need. For example, if you love idlis, I was giving the example. So that means you have idli samskara from childhood. Now you become a Buddha. Do you have to stop eating idlis? What kind of freedom is that? You're talking about freedoms. So freedom is if I eat idlis, I need not eat idlis. I can eat idlis and I don't need to eat idlis in order to be happy. But I like idlis. I don't like the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Why? Because I'm not an American. If you're an American Buddha, you may love your peanut butter sandwich every morning. So suppose you eat a peanut butter sandwich, does it make you a Buddha? You will lose your Buddhahood because you ate a sandwich? So understand, waking up is a samskara. Going for a walk is a samskara. Eating is a samskara. Living like a human being on this planet, that is all samskara. This is all our memories. I know how to move my hand. I know how to talk. I know how to walk. This is all samskara. Does it have to? If it all has to go away, then I will have to evaporate from the planet. The moment somebody becomes Buddha, he will have to disappear. That is not required. Thank God. Otherwise, who will teach all this?
But
Understand? Who will teach? Suppose the moment you became Buddha, you disappear.
It means you can be alive in a samprajnata samadhi.
Yeah. So that's it. That's it. You said it. So just because you have understood asamprajnata samadhi doesn't mean that you cannot live. You will live as an enlightened somebody. See, the Buddha, when he became the Buddha, he did not die on that day. He lived for some time, but he lived free. So when you know yourself, then also until the body falls, the person will live. And the samskaras are necessary. But they are not a problem. See, what is the difference between samskaras and vrittis? vrittis can become overpowering. They can take away, they can block your self-knowledge. In case of a Buddha, there are samskaras, but they are sublated. So there is an ego, right? But it's an enlightened ego. It doesn't bother him. There is raga and dvesha. He also is going to have some likes and dislikes. Yeah. Just because he is a man of knowledge doesn't mean that he will have zero likes and dislikes. He may prefer a certain kind of music. That is not going to take away his Buddhahood just because he loves some music. And he likes, but suppose what he likes doesn't happen. He is not going to be shattered. And suppose he doesn't like something and that alone happens, that is not going to disturb him. So there is raga, there is dvesha, but it's all sublated. It is not obstructing his Buddhahood. There is an enlightened ego, so then he understands the me. But that me is not blocking the sunlight. Me is not like a huge bunch of cloud blocking the sunlight. There is a me, but it's like a dot. So the sunlight just go through the whole thing. And his whole body becomes like some kind of a samskara sheshaha. It's a samskara sheshaha. Shesha means remaining. So see, what is this? I say, so virama pratyaya abhyasa. So what is the abhyasa? What is the practice at this point? Dwelling upon this virama pratyaya, this silence, which has come to the person because of his understanding of the samprajñata. Neither the sthula is disturbing him, nor the sukshma is disturbing him. Neither the gross world disturbs him, nor the subtle world disturbs him. And his own samskaras also do not really disturb him. Whereas for the other person, samskaras have turned into vrittis and they become an obstruction. So when something he likes doesn't happen, he is shattered. Something dislike happens, he is all agitation. And abhinivesha, there are so many desires, so always afraid of death. Because, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have a huge agenda for oneself. That's how a person is, I have to do so many things. What about Buddha? He doesn't have to do anything. Doesn't have to desire anything. Doesn't have to know anything anymore. Suppose Buddha doesn't know 5 languages. Doesn't know Hungarian. Doesn't know Finnish. Doesn't know Spanish. I don't know. Maybe he will know. Russian. I don't know Russian. I don't know Lithuanian. I don't know Latvian. And I don't know Czech. Whatever. It has nothing to do with Buddhahood. See, when we say all knowledge, it doesn't mean the knowledge of, it's not through the intellect. Knowing the forest is what you need. So he knows the forest. He doesn't confuse himself to be a tree in the forest. Okay? And it doesn't mean that through his mind he will know the botanical names of every single plant. That is not called enlightenment. Sometimes we think like that. Oh, so somebody being with Buddha, he will know all the languages, he will know our names before we go to him. You will go there and he will know who you are. This knowledge, it happens in the mind, but it is not through the mind, okay? So like the pot, if it had a human mind, it will know I am clay. And all the other pots also are clay. If a pot had a human mind, it will know that. So this is the understanding, just exactly like what you are doing right now. Then where is the problem? Having understood that, we don't stay in this understanding. Virama Pratyaya we all reach, but nobody stays there. Very soon we go out and try to become busy with the world. We never stay in our true nature even when we arrive at it. Understand? So it's staying, and why we don't stay? Because there is no Nirodha. So Nirodha is there, then one will stay in one's nature. And so we will move on, yeah, from here to the next sutra. And this is understood, yeah? Then Bhava Pratyayo Videha Prakritilayanam. So Virama Pratyaya was there, you know. Now this is called Bhava Pratyaya. Bhava. The word Bhava, it can be interpreted in two ways. One word that we generally use as a translation for Bhava is samsara. Okay? Then if that is the meaning you take, then we are saying that this yogi that we are discussing, a yogi who gets into all these states, yeah, all these samadhis. So if you say there is bhava pratyaya for him, that would mean that he will be born again. Okay. So that's quite possible, yeah. If you don't reach the truth, will be born again. So what we are saying, that certain yogis who are being discussed in this sutra, these yogis, because they did not complete their inquiry, did not complete their journey, they will be born again because they did not really get rid of their avidya totally. They made a huge effort, Herculean effort. But as we said, a big effort is no guarantee of, it is about seeing finally the truth. So if you climb the mountain and don't see the truth, then climbing the mountain has no meaning. After having climbed on the mountain, from there you should see. So that's why there is a place for effort and then there is a place for understanding. If the understanding is not taking place, then all the effort is we could not say it is a waste. If it is made in the right direction, it is always useful. So that will perhaps be the case with these guys, but they will be born again. According to some commentators, which I respect a great deal, this is the situation. But look, if they have a understanding that I am not this body, that is what a person understood in the Vitarka meditation, that I am not the body, I am not a modification of the five elements, I am the five elements. Suppose a person understood this, that I am the fire, I am the earth, I am the water, I am these elements, and I am not a particular type of collection, modification of these elements like a body is. Then suppose this understanding had taken place for him after his Vitarka meditation, then he will not be born in a physical body because he has already transcended that in his understanding. And suppose he also transcended that I am the subtle. Eyes and ears and touch and taste and the smell, these are all integral part of me. In order to exist, I have to see, I have to hear, I have to touch, taste and smell, I have to walk, I have to talk. All these functionalities define me. And this was his understanding at the Vichara level. But he understood that I am not even my subtle body, I am just the elements. I am the subtle fire, I am the subtle air, I am these subtle five elements. then he has become a videha. Deha means a body. And I am a gross body or a subtle body. Both ideas vanished from his understanding. Why? In the vitarka and vichara. He got rid of that understanding. So who is he? He is Mr. Videha. And he will be born because he didn't finish the journey. He never arrived at the Virama Pratyaya, etc. So then you will have to say that he will be born again, but perhaps maybe like a god or an angel in a thought body, because the Ananda and Asmita has not been transcended. So not in a physical body, not in a subtle body, but because there are still thoughts, he's caught up in the soul level, confusion, and maybe with the power of his good karma and good meditation, he will end up and will be born in a heaven as one of the demigods or something. That is also birth. Bhava pratyayaha, they will be born again. May not be in a physical body, but maybe in a subtle or causal body. They will be sitting somewhere in God knows, there is a world out there for the souls.
But Bhava Pratyaya means you're born again. It doesn't matter if in a better body or you don't know.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah,
know.
we don't
But
know.
most likely because of this
So we're
meditation, yeah.
Yes.
And so born again, maybe not in a body, not in an animal body, not in a human body, but maybe in the body of a god or an angel. Like a Lucifer is all nothing but light. What is that light? It's a thought body, because thoughts are all consciousness, right? But he didn't have the release that I am the ocean. He's still a wave, right? A wave who knew that I don't need to take up a physical or subtle body, but as a so in our understanding, even the gods and angels are ignorant. Why? Because they are born there and they are depending on a position for their ananda. That if I'm in heaven, I'm happy. If I have to give up, suppose say, no, you have to get out of here. Then that God will say, oh, I don't want to go, I like it here. I love it here. So his whole happiness is depending on a place, on being in heaven. That's dependence, that is not freedom. So what is this moksha? You don't depend on a place, not even heaven. Okay. So the positional ananda we all have, like, we are enjoying because we are sitting here. But when you lose this place, you go another place, then you should be able to, the change of place shouldn't be able to take away your happiness. That is called moksha. So I am in a place I enjoy, but if I lose that place, it makes me sad. If I'm with some people, I'm happy, but if I lose those people, I'm not happy. If I have certain objects around me, I'm happy, but if I have to give up those objects, then my happiness also is gone. This kind of an understanding of myself is the cause of our problem. Dependence and happiness don't really go together. So therefore, a life of attachment is seen as perhaps it's the one that creates a lot of strife, because after attachment, the moment there is attachment, there is a fear of losing it. Suppose you don't attach, fear. The moment we begin attaching, then the fear also has to walk in, right? Because whatever object we attach to, it may not. So then what should I do? Should I run away from everything? That's not the idea. Remain with the people, remain with the things that you have, but understand this. Understand that whenever the fear walks into your psyche, you recognize that it is due to the attachment. And so then if you understand that right there, you will understand your attachment, you will understand your fears, and when you see them clearly, that clarity itself gives you some room to remain happy. Understand that. Because you are happiness. And that attachment, that fear was blocking it. At the moment you understand the whole dynamic, there itself there is some freedom, happiness. Like, when you look at a cloud, the cloud, because of your gaze, it just destroyed there. Because you are the shining sun. One less cloud, one less cloud. This is life really. As a human being, so Videha saw very clearly, but not completely. And then there's another yogi there called Prakriti Laya. Bhava Pratyayo Videha Prakriti Laya. Now, what about Prakriti Laya? Let us call her not a yogi, but yogini. Miss Prakriti Laya. Why not? So Mr. Videha did the Vitarka Vichara and didn't go any further. But this Miss Prakriti Laya was a great yogini. She went through the Vitarka and the Vichara and the Ananda. And she didn't get stuck anywhere. She finally went and became merged in the Prakriti. Prakriti Laya. Laya means merging. So what is Prakriti? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. So she became one with the three gunas. That's the subtlest level of samadhi you can have. From Vitarka to Vichara you go, Vichara is subtler. Vichara to Ananda you go, it's even subtler. Ananda to Asmita you go, it is even subtler. And that's where she was. She became one with the Prakriti, one with the Sattva, one with the Rajas, one with the Tamas. Laya is like merging. So she was, you can say, she was sitting on the gateway of moksha. So she would be in some kind of a really high, the seventh heaven or something. Brahmaloka, who knows? But still bound to a place.
Sorry, one quick question. You said that it was the subtlest level of.
See, Prakriti is these three gunas, right? If you merge in them, that's a very big thing. It's not an ordinary thing. It's a huge achievement, right? So you have already understood I am not the physical body. That's a great understanding. Then you understood I am not the subtle body also. That's also. And then you also understood that I am not a mind. Because mind is nothing but sattva, rajas and tamas in a particular formation. Everybody's mind is a modification of the three gunas. So some sattva, some rajas, some tamas, and a combination or permutation of these three gunas is everyone's mind. You cannot say sattvic mind. You can say that, but there is some rajas and tamas. He is a very rajasic guy, but he has some sattva. Sometimes he's in sattva, sometimes he's in tamas also. Just not. He's a rajas guy. Doesn't mean that he's always in rajas, always agitated, always angry, always fighting. It is not possible. Or he's a tamasic guy. So there are times even he's at peace. So everyone's mind is a particularized gunas, right? Prakriti, nature. That's why we call his nature is like this. So a personality, not the person. Person is the water. So Prakriti Laya is a yogini who merged in the very Prakriti. At the subtlest of levels, she was in Samadhi. But understand, if you want to know Prakriti Laya, you want to assimilate, you want to understand it at our level, which is, see, when you go to the sleep, right? What happens to me? We get complete laya. We become one with everything. In the deep sleep, you don't have a sense of separation, right? That is like merging. We merged into the whole. But when you wake up, what happens? I come out of it, right? With all my troubles and tribulations and problems. So that is the day. and then again we get merged. So Prakriti Laya is a little bit like that. So it's not the greatest of examples. There is a lot of work done here by this person to get to that Shanti. But in essence, it's a little bit like that you can keep on getting merged every night, but you won't wake up as a Buddha unless you understood that what obtained in that deep sleep, okay, as myself, the problem-free self, the happy me, that is the real me. And the one that is in the waking, this troubled me, is not the real me. This understanding doesn't take place. So nothing short of the knowledge of Purusha will really make you a Buddha. Even the merging with the Prakriti is a very close, but it's not the ultimate of knowledge. So even she will be born. So the meditation, the strength of your meditation is not equal to enlightenment, okay? People think that meditation is what makes you enlightened. True, in a way. But suppose you don't know that you're a Purusha. Then you're just a meditator, right? That meditator is small. Just because it merged into the Prakriti, you have to see that the world is me, and the guy who was looking at the world, that is also me. The ocean is me, the wave also is me. Generally what we think, I'm a wave looking at the ocean. Suppose this wave merged into the ocean and then came out and again merged into the ocean and came out. She doesn't know that she is the water which makes both. Right? Does this explain? A wave who doesn't see that I am the water which is both the ocean and the wave. She doesn't know the Purusha. She's just merging. She's merging into the ocean, coming out. Merging into the ocean, coming out. This merging is not easy. I never said that. To resolve in the virama, pratyaya, abhyasa, to get resolved. But this is how the ego is. It's like a Hydra monster. You kill it and it burns. Another 5 heads. So subtler and subtler, because it's a great survivor. So instead of knowing, instead of being the ocean, the person prefers to say, yes, yes, I know the ocean. Instead of being the ocean. This is everybody. Human beings are like, this is the whole Yoga Sutra. I'm going to talk about this in the 3rd and the 4th chapter. So I would rather remain as the knower of the ocean than to be the ocean. That's a very big thing. So this is why we say Prakriti Laya is wonderful. We need it. We need that peace. We need that resolved mind. We need that clean plate. But kindly put some food of knowledge on it and eat. That is what she didn't do. So even she will be born, maybe in the highest of the heaven, the Brahma Loka, the Tapo Loka, Bhur Bhuva Suvaha, Mahaha Janaha, Tapaha Satyam. So maybe she will be there in the 6th or 7th heaven.
Can you explain to me shortly what loka is?
Lokaha means, see, in English you have word like locus, location. Okay, so what is a loka? It's a location. What is the location where people are located? So a plane where the souls are located. And we recognize that the earth need not be the only one. Doesn't mean anybody has seen the Svarga and Mahaha and Janaha, but it's a vast world. If a life is possible on this plane there are souls like you and I, we all exist, then there could be other places as well. You cannot deny that. You don't know. You have nothing to deny it with. Your eyes and ears cannot cancel that there is a loka where other souls are existing. You cannot disprove their existence. Maybe there are. That's all you can say because there is no way of dismissing it. With your senses, with your mind, there is no heaven. How do you know? There is no heaven. You can say, I don't want to go there. But how can you say there is no heaven? Do you have any basis? You have no basis. You may wish it is not there. I cannot prove it to you. You cannot disprove it. Okay? Because all we have is our senses and mind. With that, it is not possible you to disprove the existence of other lokas. Especially if these books talk about maybe there are. Maybe there are. See, how many galaxies are there in this universe? You ask the scientists. Let's not ask us because we can lie, no? Scientists, they know. So they will say, we don't know. Like they don't know how many. So they say millions. Which is a guess. You don't have the exact number. Like somebody says, how can you count the stars in the sky? So they try. They say billions of stars, zillions of stars. How many birds? Don't know. So many. So countless, okay? Countless. Because we don't know how to count. Similarly, let us say in one of these stars, every star is like a sun. And it can have planets like Earth and Jupiter, Saturn, and all these planets rotating around that sun. And the moons. Every planet can have satellites, like our Earth is a satellite. Earth is a planet, and Moon is the satellite. So on one of these planets or satellites far away in another galaxy, there could be some people sitting like we are sitting. How can we know? They are not. And then suppose one of them said, there is no Earth. There is no Earth. He can say that. But does he have a basis to say that? Does he have a basis to dismiss the Earth and you and I? He doesn't. Similarly, we don't either. So maybe there are some other lokas. The Veda counts 7. Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha. The Gayatri mantra, we think of it as 3. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha. On Bhuhu is the earth where so many beings live. And there are a lot of beings who live in the space. Bhuvaha. Space between the earth and the heavens. Birds and so on. And then there could be beings beyond that. So that Suvaha, it contains Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. All the other 4 are contained in the Swarga if you look at it like that. So we can look at it as 3, we can look at it as 7. So, but there could be beings born at these various planets. So a Mr. Videha could be in heaven number 2. And Miss Prakriti Laya could be in heaven number 7. Who knows? They are all there, maybe. We don't know. We don't need to know, okay?
7 from here and 7 down, right?
7 down is also there. So total 14. Chaturdasha Bhuvanani. But see, it is wrong to call them hells. Okay. So we have, it's very interesting. This is something, if you understand this clearly, it can make you more very relaxed. That's why I will say it, even though it is not part of the class. See, in the way of looking, in the Vedic way of looking, Swarga is a loka. But Naraka, which is generally translated as hell, is not a loka. You never hear Naraka loka. Naraka vastha. It is a state, not a place. Swarga, however, is a place. What is the meaning? That due to our wrong karma, we remain in a state of suffering for a short while. Naraka avastha is not a place, it's not an address. Whereas Swarga is like earth, it's a place where you can stay for a long time. So, and why Naraka? Why we even have hell, Naraka? Well, because if we do some wrong karma, it cannot translate into heaven. So therefore, a wrong action will bring about some suffering, some displeased condition. But like you yourself, you suddenly find yourself in some sadness, and then we are out of it and okay. That is how we are. For some people, that state lasts longer. Some people have a longer nightmare, right? But we rebound because our nature is happiness. Okay, now if this is one way of taking the class, okay, there's another way when we are running from sutra to sutra and finishing. So suppose the questions come, suppose I don't answer the question, then we will say, what is the point? And then if you answer the question, we are not able to do one more sutra. This is how it is always going to be. You understand that? Because time is only that much. So anyway, one thing we must understand from this sutra, Bhava Pratyayo Videha Prapritilaya. Now, for both Mr. Videha and Miss Prapritilaya, there is going to be Bhava Pratyaya. They will be born again, may not be on the earth, but in some other realms. And after living there, in these heavenly places, and enjoying for a long time, when their punya runs out, which is the ticket to enjoyment, they will be born again on the earth. Understand, this is the disadvantage of a birth in heaven, that after living there like a god for a long time, one day you will have to get out of there. Nobody is a permanent resident of heaven. So they will be back on the earth. But when they are born as a little baby on the earth, maybe in the house of a yogi, or maybe in the house of a very pious person, very Sagrada Familia. They will be born in a Sagrada Familia. But, and you know what? From the very childhood, this person will show a great capacity for samadhi, because he was a yogi before, he was a videha, he was a prakriti laya. So because of those samskaras which are still remaining in him, samadhi samskara, okay, samadhi samskara, he will latch on to this samadhi, he will take it to this samadhi practice like fish to the water. It will be very easy. So bhava in that sense also means, bhava means from the very birth. Bhava is to become, sansara. So another meaning, bhava is to be born. So they will be born again and they will show the capacity for samadhi from the very early age itself. That is another meaning of it. That for Videha and Prakriti Layas, the souls who were Videhas and Prakriti Layas in their previous lives, they will show a capacity for asamprajnata samadhi from the very birth itself. The moment they bhava, the moment they are born. Yeah, because all the leg work, all the hard work has been done before. So in the Gita also we say that it is not lost. The samskaras remain. Samskaras remain. So when this yogi is born again, due to that samadhi samskara, see, samadhi also is going to give him samskara. Whatever you practice repeatedly, like the rope going over the stone, it leaves a samskara. So what was this yogi doing? Every day he was going and seeing the ocean, going and seeing the ocean. So who was he? When he died, he was a wave who knew the ocean. That's a very big samskara. And that's what he had. So immediately he will get into samadhi. All right, but should we do all this? Should we try to become a Videha and lose it and be born in the heaven and come back and become a Prakriti Laya and do such a lot of hard work and yet we are down on the earth again? Should we do this? You can do it if you like. But here is the other way, okay? What he says, if you are born and you are not a Videha and not a Prakriti Laya, you are not any of these two yogis, then what is the path for you and I? That is the next sutra. This is a very important sutra because it is outlining what will take me to self-knowledge. Okay? As though the milestones are very nicely pointed out that these are the things we need in order to know. So what is it? Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, Purvaka, Itaresham. Itaresham, for everybody else. Itara is others. So Itaresham, what is the meaning? Who are these other people? Who were not born after being a Videha or Prakriti Laya. So, like you and I, we are here and suppose we wanted to get the self-knowledge. Then what is the path for all of us? Itaresham. Other than Videha, other than Prakriti Laya, for everybody else. So he says it begins with Shraddha. Shraddha. So Shraddha is, we saw that it is faith, but it is not a blind faith, okay? It is like you have faith in Patanjali, that reading Yoga Sutra is going to be very beneficial for me. And you have Shraddha in Arvind, that he is not going to teach it badly. It is going to be okay to go and learn from him. So this is all Shraddha. Shraddha in the words of the book, and traditionally this is how we define Shraddha, that we take the words of the scripture and the words of the teacher as true until I myself understand their meaning. Okay, that is called Shraddha. So for example, I give you the direction that if you go from here, and then take a right, and then take a left, you will reach the Ganesha temple, right? Then you can have Shraddha in me and trust me and you will reach the Ganesha temple. Suppose you don't trust me, then you will go in the wrong direction, right? And once you reach the Ganesha temple, do you need to have Shraddha in me? Not anymore, you already know the Ganesha temple. So, it doesn't mean your Shraddha will become less in me. Perhaps it will increase, but you don't need it certainly.
So it becomes knowledge.
Yeah, so Shraddha turns into knowledge. Until knowledge, you need to trust me. Suppose somebody has an idea, I am a mere mortal. And that person comes to a Gita class and the teacher tells him that, look, you are really immortal. And he is not willing to give up his notion of mortality. Then he is immortal, but he will never be able to know. So Shraddha is necessary because my conclusion is against knowledge initially. And if I try to maintain that conclusion,
You have to have like the benefit of the doubt.
you have to give the teacher a benefit of doubt. That maybe I am an immortal. Maybe I am free from sadness. Maybe I am free from all this junk that I think I can never be free from. I can never be free from fear. I can never be free from sorrow. Suppose you start believing in all these, this is you, and you don't give the teacher any benefit of doubt, then he can never reveal to you your fearlessness and sorrow-freeness. He can talk for ages. So we have to give him a chance that there is a way, there is a possibility of living a life. There is a possibility of being free from all the clouds. There is a possibility. So we have that attitude of giving the teacher a benefit of doubt is called in the tradition Shraddha. Without that, nothing happens. Like you already have Shraddha in you. That's why, a lot of people who have a 4:30 morning practice, so they eat their dinner at 5 p.m. Who does that except yogis? Everybody eats at 8:30, 9. So why do you do that? Because you think that you have Shraddha in your mat practice. Practice on the mat, I mean. I didn't say mad or anything. I was just saying practice on the mat. You have a great Shraddha in that. So for that, you eat an early dinner. Otherwise, so you give up the late night movies, give up the fun and party, even though so many things are available. Doesn't mean that if you're doing it, there is anything wrong. I'm just saying. So we give up so many things. Why? Because you have Shraddha, that this is going to do something great for me. That is also Shraddha. So with Shraddha it begins. The path begins with Shraddha. And you see, the Shraddha, suppose Shraddha comes to an end. That is the end of the search also. Right?
That is the end of what, sorry?
That is the end of your search for self-knowledge. Suppose you lose trust in Patanjali. Then you will throw the book away. So this Yoga Sutra is useless. I don't think it is not meant for me. Maybe it is meant for some Buddhas or something. But I'm not that Buddha. I'm not an old man yet. This is meant for when you are 60. I'm a young man. I need to go live my life. And then you throw the book away and run away. Then the moment the Shraddha comes to an end, the pursuit of self-knowledge also ends on that day. So Shraddha starts it and Shraddha keeps it going. And once we have Shraddha, we will go and get whatever is necessary for gaining self-knowledge. So that is called Virya. So once there is Shraddha, then you will have enthusiasm for the journey. You will, with trust, you can move forward. If there is no trust, you won't even put a step forward. So Virya means enthusiasm. Virya means this energy. Energy for the pursuit. Capacity for the pursuit. Yes, I want to know. I want to know. Knowing is very important for me. So that kind of an attitude, right? So, and then you will remove things from your life which are not beneficial for your pursuit. So suppose you were doing lots of things which were contrary to your pursuit of self-inquiry, you will drop them all. That is Virya also. So gossiping, you will quit. Unnecessarily walking around in the marketplace, you will quit. And hard as it is, you may even give up all the Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all that. You give it all up because there is no useless. This is nothing. You may give up reading the newspaper. You may give up your interest in politics and all those things. And Ishvara. That could happen too. Very hard to happen, but when there is Shraddha, that this meditation is going to free me from birth and death. It's going to free me from fear and sorrow. It's going to free me from old age. It's going to free me from disease. It's going to free me from this endless cycle of ignorance and this dance of death. I'll be freed from it. Whereas other things will keep me in it. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing here? Wasting my life with the small things when the great Ishvara is waiting for me. So I'm satisfied with the crumbs that are falling on me from the table like a dog, where I can sit on the dining table and eat the entire menu. Why am I like that? So we are all, So I think there's a lot to think about, and that is that energy for that, virya for that, follows generally the Shraddha. And with the Shraddha and with the energy, virya, when you start inquiring into your true nature, then you get the recollection of the true me. That is called smriti. Smriti means memory. So you will recollect who you are. We recollect who we are. In the moments of meditation, slowly we are able to see who we are. But this seeing is not complete. It is still full of doubts and vagueness. Therefore, we need to have samadhi. So, smriti, I know my ocean, but vaguely. I know myself as the ocean, but with a few doubts. I keep returning to my me, that is called vagueness. In the beginning, I have doubts about me being the ocean. I think, how can I be that? I am very much this, so there are doubts. So first those doubts go away in samadhi. Then this vagueness also departs. So I am me. I am a wave. It goes away completely. Subtlest of that ego also, one can see through and see that I am the whole. And that wholeness is called prajna, a clear knowledge of oneself, otherwise called by such huge words as self-realization and enlightenment, all that. So this is the sutra. Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna, Purvak, Itaresham. So we could say a lot more than what we just have, but let's see. We'll see tomorrow. Yeah. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.